Giovanni Pernice is here for his first TV interview since the BBC published its report into the so-called Strictly scandal. As you'll remember, it all started around a year ago when Giovanni's celebrity partner, Amanda Abbington, quit the competition, later blaming her treatment from Giovanni during training. After months of investigation, 6 complaints out of 17 were upheld relating to verbal abuse and harassment, but allegations of physical abuse and aggression were not. The BBC issued Amanda a public apology, and Giovanni was left out of this year's Strictly lineup, taking a place on the Italian version instead. And this morning, he wants to share his side of the story. An incredibly turbulent, emotionally draining year for everybody involved, Giovanni. I can only imagine that. Like we say, you're back in Italy, you're doing Strictly over there. Why are you wanting now to do this interview? Why are you wanting to have your side of the story heard?
I think it's the right time to do so because, as you said, it's been a year of difficulty. You know, it's been difficult to read every day in the newspaper things that were simply not true and not be able to talk because, you know, both of the parties really were asked to maintain the confidentiality of the process. So, you know, I wanted to keep professional, and finally the results is out. I'm able to talk about what happened. You know, I said to myself, and you know, put as well some the record straight when it comes from my side of the story.
You see, this is, I think, the biggest issue I have, and a lot of people at home will have, is that we are not privy to the findings of this very lengthy BBC report. There's a BBC confidentiality issue in place with that. But what we do know is that there were 17 allegations made against you by Amanda Abbington. You were cleared of 11. But 6 were upheld. So where do you stand now with the outcome of this report? You talk about, you know, moving forward and having your side heard. So how do you feel now with the report and the review, without us, like I say, knowing the full details of what those allegations were?
Of course,
so it's difficult.
You know, the results is out there in terms of we both got the results, and it's important because from my side point of view, I'm relieved the fact that the most serious allegation were thrown out. And yes, 6 has been upheld, but 11 hasn't been upheld, which is, again, the most serious were not. When it comes to that one upheld, we go some obligation of verbal bullying, as we say. I adapt with the person that got in front of me, and vice versa. I think this is life like this. If you're in the room and we decide to have one sort of a relationship between us two, I feel safe. At that time, we were okay with it, and was fine. Never been a sort of difficulty of please don't say this to me. And the other allegation that was of me being frustrated, which I recognise. I recognise because...
And this is part of the 6 that were upheld.
The 6 that were upheld,
that
you know, the behaviour. But I guess frustration isn't... You've done Strictly, you know how difficult it is to learn a new line, a new dance every week. And dancing is difficult. Dancing is... It's a new thing. So I presume that myself, I get frustrated, the celebrity get frustrated, and trust me when I say every single person on Strictly Come Dancing or dancing with a star in the world will get frustrated because you feel the pressure. You know, you feel the pressure that you want to perform perfectly on the Saturday night. So frustration, I think, is something that when you want to be good, it happens. And I do care about my job. And when you have somebody in your hands like Amanda, which in my opinion, she was brilliant. You know, she was unbelievable at dancing. It's normal that I try to get out the best as I can than my partner. In my opinion, actually, I'm a bit upset because we couldn't make it all the way to the final. So my job is to try to take everything out of my partner. And Amanda was one of those that, wow, you know, it's actually quite in the public domain, the fact that I'm a strict teacher. I recognise that myself. I've been on the show for 9 years, which means you know exactly who Giovanni is and the way he teaches. So in that time, if you want to achieve greatness, I think this is the right way to do.
So you describe your teaching technique as, you know, being strict and firm, and you're wanting to get the best out of it. But obviously that doesn't always translate to the person that you're dancing with.
Absolutely.
Like you talked about when I was part of Strictly, I just wanted to have fun. I was never going to win. So do you find, I mean, Amanda sat in this very studio and described to us in her words how it felt like bullying. It felt a nasty, mean place to be in the rehearsal room with you. Like, what is your take on that? I mean, she did approach the BBC in the first week of rehearsals. That's what she said to us. And in fact, on the third day, she raised concerns about the toxic environment within the rehearsal room.
Well, that's very concerning to me because Strictly is one of the shows that you put two people in the room, OK? I personally didn't know Amanda, and Amanda didn't know me. So it's very concerning the fact that even if it's like that, after 3 days, you already complain. In that case, I need to get to know you. Not knowing you, in 3 days, I need to know what you like, the way you work, and what is good for you or what's not good for you, because this is what Strictly is about, is building a relationship with your partner. In that case, you come to me, or since you're my partner, you come to me and say, well, listen, Giovanni, I don't really like this, or Giovanni, I like that. But in 3 days, it's very early days, especially when you don't know that person. I didn't even know all of this was happening. So
where was the disconnect then? What happened here where, I mean, for her to say that she felt like you were a bully, you're clearly not thinking that you are.
First of all, the investigation didn't find me a bully, which is exactly why I feel relieved now. And it's important to put that straight, because bully is a big word. And there's a difference between when a bully and caring about what you do. And again, it's very different. But at that time, as I said before, everything was great. All I had was, Giovanni, you're an amazing teacher. Giovanni, you're great. And then, as Amanda said, she left because of health conditions. And the last message I had with Amanda was, please let me know how the scan goes, and I want to help you. So the last message I sent to her, I will fund for you a doctor. Please, let's sort this out, because it's more important than any steps. This was the last message and last conversation with Amanda.
Yeah. And like you said, going back to the review and exactly what was said in termes of bullying and everything else, it's so difficult for us because we haven't got the review in front of us.
You know, there's different way of... And also bullying, I think, is a major word. But I'm glad that the 11 allegations has been thrown. At the beginning, there were very serious allegations. For instance, me, you know, threatening her or abusing her, and all of this has been taken out, which is the most important thing.
Why do you think the BBC felt the need to apologise, which they did, and they thanked Amanda for coming forward, and that was a difficult time for her, but they did fully apologise?
Well, if they felt that way, it's you know, it's their decision. But I agree with the BBC. It's good that Amanda came forward to talk about something that didn't happen. It's important that if you don't feel right, it's important that you talk to somebody. And I'm glad that she did. You know, I'm glad that Amanda come forward. I was actually pleased when the whole thing finished. And yes, it took longer than what it should have took. But I'm glad that at the end we have a report that says what isn't there, you know? So I'm not against about the fact that the investigation started in the first place, because everybody, literally everybody, if it's got problem, they should go and talk to production in this case. So I think she did the right thing.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that the investigation is finished and we got a result.
Yeah. She spoke with Newsnight 2 weeks ago. This is what she had to say on that programme. So that was in relation to how she felt what went on in that rehearsal room. What is your response to that?
Well, that's the reason why I'm here sitting today, to answer to those things, because there is so much that is not true in these things. And again, the report is there. We both have a report. We both have results. I think the most important thing is that to accept what the results is and move on with our life. Because otherwise we end up to go in a circle that is never going to finish. For me, when she said about we've trained 7 hours, I wish we did train 7 hours a day. We never did anything like this. Or was the other things that we're talking about is calling names mad. I never call them mad on that room. In actual fact, you know, there's a report that says those allegations hasn't been upheld.
Listening to how she has felt and indeed what she's sort of gone through, certainly since then, there's been a lot of trolling and everything else. Is there anything that you do feel sorry for? Is there anything that you would fix?
The trolling things and the messages was disgusting. I think nobody should do anything like this to even the worst enemy. Absolutely. So all these messages that she received, talking about her daughter, the son, and you know, threatening life, whatever, it shouldn't happen at all.
But if you were in a room with Amanda now, would you want to say anything to her? Would you want to say sorry? I
think we'll have a nice cup of tea, probably have a chat and talk about what happened in the room for once, you know, and see what he went there, because it's different. You know what it is, Christine? It's very difficult because at that time everything was perfect.
But then
me and Amanda Abbington never had an argument.
But yet she does obviously say that she was deeply uncomfortable and there was inappropriate
after 6 months.
behaviour.
But if you'd have come at that time, you would come to me and say, we're not getting along, then I probably will have a chat. Like every other relationship. We would have a chat and we would talk it through and we try to make it better. But realistically, me and Amanda, we never had an argument. We always have discussion about steps. Yes, we did have meetings with the BBC, but we always come forward from there. I did have a meeting with the BBC with all my other partners.
Well, you speak about other partners. I think that's another issue, because we do know that Amanda met with several of your former dance partners, other women who did feel uncomfortable, that they thought that there was inappropriate language and behaviours. How do you feel about that? I mean, collectively, this group of women came together.
I can only answer to you to the things that I know, and it's been presented to me. In this case, I've got only one official complaint, and this is from Amanda. All the other one I generally can't answer because I don't know where to start from.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, I know Laura Whitmore is one of those people, and she wrote on her Instagram that she was asked to speak to the BBC along with 6 people that she knows of about inappropriate behaviour they experienced, similar to mine with the same individual. I initially raised concerns back in 2016. I thought my experience was specific to me, but I've since learned I was wrong. The aim of this is to show a pattern of behaviour that I believe needs to stop. My evidence is to support other people's experience. I mean,
That's one important thing to go straight there, because all my 9 partners has been asked to talk to the BBC. So it's not just the 6. Because I've seen it saying numbers, all his partner went to talk to the BBC. It's not for complaining. I think what the BBC did is bring everybody that danced with me to have a bigger vision of what my teaching style would be.
But
so everybody went to
do you think there's anything wrong with your teaching style now? On reflection, considering Laura and certainly these other women and Amanda are saying there was something wrong in the rehearsal room. This isn't the experience I thought I was going to have on Strictly.
Of course. And
on reflection, is there something inherently wrong? Do you feel there's something that you need to change going forward?
My teaching style, I don't think my teaching style... You know what it is? Strictly, as I always said, it's a room. You put 2 people in the room, and these people have to get to know each other, OK? Some people getting along, some people don't get along, and this happens in every single room, in every single country. You can't all the time have the perfect match. Some people get along, and some people get along. But as long as you remain professional to the same goal, which is achieved, equitable at the end of the day, you should you know, you just carry on. When you ask me if I would change something, I wouldn't change my teaching style, because, in my opinion, this is it's a profession. Dancing is a very difficult thing to do. And I have achieved 4 finals. I won the show with Rose. You know, now I'm breaking records in Italy with Bianca. I got all the records, potentially all the records on Strictly, but it's not to blow my own trumpet. I think it's a difficult discipline. And for me, teaching the way I teach is the successful way to approach this. Yes, you could change the approach, but not changing the teaching style.
Yeah. Amanda's lawyers have obviously been in touch. They have said Mr. Pernice's claim that everything in the rehearsal room worked perfectly is false and delusional. and underlies the toxic culture Miss Abbington endured on Strictly Come Dancing. The BBC's own investigation concluded that Mr Pernice was in breach of multiple BBC policies, including repeated breaches of the anti-bullying and harassment policy. Mr Pernice was spoken to by the BBC on several occasions about his misconduct, but his behaviour only continued. At no time did Miss Abbington regard his verbal abuse or inappropriate sexual behaviour as banter. This is precisely the kind of gaslighting behaviour which victims of bullying and harassment often have to endure. It's these people Miss Abbington will continue to speak up for. What is your feelings on that? I mean...
Well, I will have to read that one very slowly because it's, you know, there's a lot of English words that I probably don't understand, but we'll have a look later.
Yeah, but again, the BBC, obviously, they have come back to us as well. They have said that they have changed their processes and it has already taken extensive steps to enhance duty of care for everyone on the show. They added Strictly Come Dancing is a family show and we rightly expect very high standards. While competition can be tough, rigorous and demanding, we want the show to ultimately be a joyous and transformative experience. It is a great shame if this hasn't been the case for everyone who has appeared on the show. Is this yearning and need for the glitter ball, Giovanni, actually too intense? You know, from a professional, I get as a professional, you want to win. I understand that. But we also have to remember it's a TV dance competition.
I agree.
Is that something to think about moving forward as well? Do you think yourself and indeed some of maybe the other pro dancers are a bit just too tough in that room? Is the language not appropriate for the novices that you are teaching in that moment?
And again, it depends what you want from Strictly Come Dancing. If you come to the room with me and you say to me, I really want to win this, I will make sure that I will do everything in my power to make you to win this. If at that time was your goal and then suddenly changed it and you don't tell me that, then there's not much I can do. So I can't read minds. I can't read minds. I just do what you ask me to do. And again, 9 years on the show, it's on the public domain that I'm a I'm a strict teacher. I said it myself. I care about my job. I'm very, very, very competitive. I won the glitter ball before. So it doesn't mean that, oh, my God, I have to win every time. But I will make sure that I will do everything to get out the best of you.
Well, like I say, we can't completely unpick all of these allegations because we haven't been able to read the investigation. But at this point, you have no regrets.
Well, whatever regrets. I think what happened, it did happen. And, you know, as I said, what's the words? It's an interesting situation because what happened in the room, Amanda wasn't happy and it did happen things and it didn't happen things. You know, it just, I can tell you what I feel. I'm happy that the results was positive for me because the allegations they would throw at the beginning were very strong. So I'm happy that I can literally relax. And I think, as I said at the beginning, I think we all should accept what the result says and move on.
Will we see you back at Strictly Come Dancing here?
I think at the moment I'm just very, very focused on Dancing with a Star in Italy. I've got a tour coming up in January, so I would definitely come back in the UK. I've got a tour coming from January to July. And then, who knows? Never say never.
Giovanni, thank you very much. An incredible year for everyone involved, like I said at the beginning.
I'm glad it's finished, though.
Yes, well, let's hope for everybody that is certainly the case. Thank you very much indeed.